Hello, nom nom. I've got something to say. So, I've got the Z21 DCC system and I'm using these with it. Okay, the Circuitron Smail, essentially toys with the chip in it. The blue thing is basically a washer plate I made because the thickness of the wood and the screws. Okay, so setting it up, mostly it's very easy, very straightforward. I initially watched a video, or three actually, from Foulston, also known as Lakeside Model Railway, and on that one he goes through the old Z21 app and shows you how to set it up, which you can still use the old one by the way. I'm using the new one. Okay, now most of it has been really easy and plain sailing. Some bits have been a bit awkward. Right, it took me 4 days to get 2 point motors installed on a double slip so it works properly. Now that's partly my own ignorance, the fact there's no instructions for certain bits, and partly something in the app that I wouldn't say it's a fault, but it could be considered maybe a design oversight where it could have been easier, you know, something like that. So essentially the way it works is once you wire the things up, you just press a button and then on the app you click the icon of the point motor that you want with the same number, and that's basically it usually. With a double slip you need to create 2 separate points on the plan, give them each an address, get each point motor to sync with that address, and then create the double slip with the same address, so you can press either, then you can go to the double slip and change the parameters properly to get it set up. Okay, that's the thing I didn't know, and like I said, 4 days it took me, and I was getting me off with it. I went to RN Web and asked some questions on the Z21 app, and you know, a lot of people thankfully helped me with that. Got into a bit of an argument later with something else, but you know, never mind. So I'm going to show you how to install this, just one of them, then wire it, and then I'm going to show you it working on the app. So, okay, welcome to the messy wiring. I'll show you what I've been doing. Like I said, it can be done neater, but this works for me. The instructions say to put pins in, so I put pins in the holes and soldered them in. That's what they are. So you have the red wire, obviously it represents one side of the track, and you solder that to the first 2 pins. Okay, then the 3rd pin is soldered to the 8th pin, and the 4th pin goes to the common crossing, or the frog. If that doesn't work and it short circuits, you just make a slight alteration and you do what I've done in this one, which is, again, it's just the same but it's been flipped 180. So instead of soldering this to the first 2 pins, it gets soldered to the 1st and the 3rd pin. Alright, then pin number 2 gets soldered to 2 and the 8th pin, and then again 4 to the frog. That usually solves it. Okay, in the Tortoise and Smail instructions you do get a paper template, but I decided to purchase one. Kind of unnecessary, it costs like £5.50, it's ridiculous really, but oh well, makes life easier. So I've already placed that there, popped the holes with a bit of pencil and just drilled a little bit for the screws to grab hold of. You centre the blades on the other side, jam on or something. What I do, I put this in the first 2. Real simple. Just so it bites into it. And then get your motor, thread that. Well, you can actually centre these, it does help, just gentle. Pop it through the hole. It's got to line it up properly. Oop. There we go. And that can now sit on the screws, kind of. So it gives you something to grab hold of slightly whilst you put the next screws in. And they're very forgiving, these point motors. You can have them where they're not quite where they need to be, and you get away with it quite often. That piece of plastic, you slide that forward and backwards, changes the fulcrum point, changes your pivot. Really simple. And you see now it's grabbed it, so It's a bit loose, but it's kind of already got my hands free. Now it's just a case of tightening them, obviously. You don't want to over tighten it, but you want to make sure it doesn't wobble around. Just do a bit at a time. Seems to have about got it. So it's just a case of soldering now. You've seen it soldered enough times, I'll just time lapse it. Well, I might not actually, we'll see, won't we? Bit of flux. I usually use liquid flux, but I kind of ran out and it's sold out at the moment, the one I want to get, so we're on paste at the moment. Trick seems to be not to use too much. Obviously not too little either. If you use too much, you just get a bubbling mess, nothing really happens. Right, ta-da, wired. I'm going to do this one off camera and then we're going to get it set up. Okay, so we have a Bachmann 101 on the track. I've tested it going forward and backwards. The point motor's not programmed yet, but I've tested it to see if the frog's the correct way around, which it is. So, see myself. Obviously you got that. That's the front, so you want to go that way. And you can tap it or you can roll it. Reverse. It's completely wireless. Magic. Spiritual technology. That's what I call it. Same concept. Energy, information going through the air, going through objects. Just have to tune in. Right. So to program that, if you look here, go to the points. You see you've got the two separates. That's for the slips I was telling you about. But anyway, this is going to be point number 8, centre of the screen. You see the crossover are both called 8 because I want them to move together. So I've not tried this yet. So underneath there is a button that you press on the point motor. It just flashes red. I'm not going to be able to film that because it's a bit awkward, but literally I'm just going to press it now and it flashed red. So bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, I've just checked that. That is indeed flashing red. So when I press this, that should just do a little wiggle. It's a registration wiggle. So let's try it. There you go. That should now work every time. There you go. So at the moment that's on the curved route and that one is straight. So what you do is you oh, it's upside down, silly me. Go back, go to control station, find the same point, edit, it's a little pencil, and then swap the polarity over. That might be awkward because like I said I've not tried doing 2, I might have to do it separately, but we'll see what happens. Save it. Right, now it's straight. So now what I'm going to do is just test to make sure the polarity hasn't changed or anything. And it's fine. Right, now I'm going to press the button on the point motor on this one. So bear with me a second. Okay, that's flashing. So I'm going to press 8 again, but on the other one. You see they both moved because they've both got the same address. So go back to control station. Now, like I said, I might have to do this separate. We don't know yet. We'll find out. Okay, they both moved. Let's see which way they went. Okay, that's saying they're both on the curve. Yet if you look at them, one's on the curve, one's on the straight. So let's have another go. So I might have to give them separate addresses. We'll persevere for a little bit. Okay, so I've programmed that as number 8, and that one's now programmed as 9. Exactly the same. You press the button and do it. So this one's a bit slow to respond. The phone's a bit quicker. Use a tablet or a phone, or you can plug a controller in. But you get the idea. Okay. Point motor, number 9. Thrown. Number 8. It's also thrown. Reverse. Bosh. It's a bit jerky backwards, probably need to run it in. Right, change the point. Meh. You see, it seems to be happy. Now we're going to try one more thing. We'll try the Gordon, which doesn't like some points because he has very fat wheels, and they have caused short out problems, which is why I've been modifying some of these, which stops it. It's just a bit of a pain. Shouldn't really have to, but then again, one of those things, I guess. Right, obviously it's on the same track. You can control them independently. Let's make them crash. Bosh. Probably not a good idea, eh? But it's fun. Me. Okay, move Gordon back a tweak. So it'll just clear the points. Change the points. And Gordon go forward. He might cut out, I don't know. Let's pull it back a little bit. Yeah, he shorted it. That's the problem, you see. Sometimes you get it, and the issue is the closure rails. But if you go a bit quicker, you tend to get away with it a bit more. So we'll try it. So I have noticed that quite a lot. If you go a bit quicker, you tend to get a real quick short, and it's not a problem. If you go too slow, the short holds longer, the system cuts out to protect it. But never mind. Like I say, I've been doing modifications to the point. But I can get away with that, that's a sensible speed. The other way. Change points. Shit. Cool. So you get the idea. And obviously when the whole layout's done, I can control the whole thing from a tablet, my phone, or like I said, you can plug in, I think it's called a multi-mouse, if you want the traditional type control, which I quite like as well. The thing is with the wireless though, you can do it anywhere in the loft. You don't have to plug it in, you don't have to keep being at a central station, so it's good. It's just nice and easy. It's also good for filming videos, and when you have the track plan literally here, right, got a Tidmouth one as well, there, although I've not built it yet. So you've got Knapford Junction. Hang on. Yeah, it just makes life a lot easier. Setting these track plans up is an absolute bugger. There's no two ways about it. It's not very, it's not that easy. Let's put it that way. But once it's set up, it's sorted. It's good, isn't it? Yes. Okay, I've been having a problem with these new peak head, bull head points. It's a known problem. I did anticipate it. You can see I've done a little modification here. Right, basically I bridged the rails. I've joined that to that, and that to that, and I'm going to cut in to that. Essentially make it like an electrofrog point instead of a unifrog point. Right, the problem is, okay, fine, you've got insulation gaps here, but some engines bridge the rails there and there. Right, my Gordon, which is basically a Hornby Great Northern chassis modified, the wheels bridge the gap and I get shorts. Sometimes, not always. Same for most of them. Also same for the slip, but it's I can live with it a little bit because it's only really going to go straight for the most part. But it's a pain with these. Now it's a shame because Pico have already done the stock rail to close rail bonding on both of them, so it's better for DCC, but this lets it down. Some people say, I've had like 40 odd locos and no problems. Well, good for you. I haven't, so unfortunately I have to make a bit of a mess. On the other board, I'm going to do these modifications underneath the point if possible to do it neater, but because this is now in and wide, I don't really want to touch it, so hopefully a bit of weathering, ballasting, etc. will hide it. So, time to cut it. Oh dear. Well, that was damn lucky. I've managed to glue it back in with super glue and solder it back in. And I've filed it with a file on the tip of that, just to fine tune it a little bit. The rail does go a bit so if it causes problems later with other engines and it's an absolute pain, I'll just get rid of the point and start again and get a new one. But it's okay to roll tests, and this thing's happy where before it was being a pain. It stopped the short because now instead of that being the brake, that's a brake and the wheel cannot bridge that gap there. So it's a step forward. I need to do the same to this point, right in the centre of the screen. That should be it for this board hopefully. This could do with a tweak as well. These ain't particularly amazing. Same sort of problem. But it's not every time, and really the engine's only going to be going straight and usually at speed, so probably might let that fly. And hopefully the replacements will be better. The bullhead ones, they might be exactly the same, I don't know. But yeah, this mod, if you do it not in situ, so you take it out and do it properly, it'd probably be a lot easier and neater, but I've done it in situ, got it to work, that's the main point. Now, because of this slightly lumpy track, I'm doing some tests on DC because I've not converted everything yet. So here's my E2 I made from my own kit, including the chassis. Or Thomas. Seems quite good. It's got a compensation in this, it's not a fixed axle. Can accept that. Okay. Yeah. Right, let's have a look at this one. A little lumpy, but it seems alright. So how slow it goes. Probably, there you go. Ah, meh. That's okay. I mean, I can't go super slow over it, but I mean, I can go. It's alright, I suppose. I can live with that. Let's try turbo mode. Yeah, no problems, didn't bump off. Yep, okay, fine. Right, we got some good news. Apart from this, which is just one point motor that's arrived today, Knapford junction is 100% wired. Well, okay, 98% wired because there's some other wiring I need to do for electromagnets or lights or things for later. But in terms of tracking points, we're good to go. It's all wiring, and I'll show you in a bit. We now have 3 locomotives that are working. Before I show you them, though, I want to explain a gremlin that makes no sense to me.
Ow, off.
Yeah. What happened is this. I chipped Gordon, okay, with a Hornby 8-pin decoder. I've heard a lot of people say they're not very good. Other people say they're okay. I thought, well, it's a Hornby Loco. I'll go with a Hornby decoder. So I chipped it, right, just to drop in. Locomotive control, no complaints, pretty good. No problem at all there. But there was this strange thing going on. It was driving me absolutely crazy. And that is, when I was trying to program point number 7, it wouldn't have it, right, sometimes, when the Loco was on the track. It's like, this is strange. It took me a while to figure that out, but for some reason, when Gordon, dink, was on the track, I pressed point number 7 on the app, it wouldn't fire, right? You press it, the little green turnout point thing moves on the application, but, you know, the point motor didn't fire. So I'm like, this is really, really strange. And it did me head in, and I couldn't work it out. So I left it. Come back a couple of days later, it's working. No explanation, just now it's working. So, okay, so it's working fine. Couldn't figure out why. And then the problem comes back again, randomly, seemingly. But this time it's point number 3 that's being a problem, not number 7. 7's fine now, supposedly. So again, do the same experiment, not working, you know, working, not working, all that. Can't figure it out. So I've ordered some different DCC chips because it seemed clear that it was a chip. I did take the chip out and put it in the other Gordon model I have, which is exactly the same basis, a Hornby Great Northern A3 Pacific basis, and the same problem. So it definitely seems to be the chip. And I ordered, if I can show you, well, instruction book at least, a Zen Black Mini, also known as V12, right? DCC Concepts one. It was suggested to me, wasn't that expensive, and it works. You know, I've still got the same locomotive control, but now the point motor doesn't have a problem. I can't figure out why the Hornby one would cause that. I don't know whether it's sending some strange signals from the decoder through the track and confusing the point motor or the Z21 system. I don't know what's going on, or what was going on, but that decoder is not happy with this setup. So if you want it, you can have it cheap. Just send me an email, because I've got no use for it. It's not working on this layout, it might be perfectly fine for you. Right, so yeah, install that. It's done. Install electromagnets. I like to use Dingham autocouplers, that's what the electromagnets is for. I like to use them with screw links, but that can come a bit later. And I need to add the board joins, the loops. I've already got 2 for these boards, but the end loops, then I can start doing the curves. But the main thing's done, and we have running trains, so I'll show you them. Okay, so the lineup, we have Gordon Mark II 1939 rebuild. You've seen it before. It's slightly jerky because I need to replace the valve gear, because over time it's got a little bit bent, and after trying to bend it back it's not really quite there. So not brilliant, but you know, it runs pretty well still. It just has a bit of a jerk on. Right, the next one we have is this one, the Bachmann 101. The other part of it is in a box. It's an absolute bugger to detach, so it can stay off until I'm completely happy. Whether I'll turn it into a daisy one day, I don't know yet. I quite like it as it is. Don't fancy cutting it up. And then the latest acquisition, well, I brought two of the chips. Second chip's gone into this, which you've seen before. Henry Mark II. Basically a Black 5 repainted and nothing more. So, me. Yeah, I'll do for now. You've seen this before as well. So I'm going to try and demonstrate. It's a bit awkward, but here we go. Right, that's now Henry. I've got it set up. So when I press the arrow in the direction of the tender, it moves that direction. Quite simple, really. Oh, not logged on. Right, so he's moving. Stop. DMU. Selected and moving. Stop. Gordon is selected and moving. Bit jerky, like I said, but never mind. Stop. Stop. Oh, good enough. Right, so there you go. All three are actually working. I'll just grab the camera by hand now. So let's go for some point motor control. First of all, let's bring this back. Is that against? I don't even know. That'd be good. Okay, so let's see. Hit the points. Now this trap plan is backwards, so I might flip it. It's quite a lot of effort to turn it around, so yeah, not sure. That's not the way I want. That's better, that's what I want. Okay, I'm going to bung that into the yard. So set the points up. Okay. Let's go. Hit stop. Alright, change of point. Okie dokie. Reverse. Good. Stop. Stop. Too late. It's going to fall off. Oh well. I might change the CV settings so they stop a bit quicker. Might not. Not sure. Right. Let's get these ones moving in. What shall we do? As I've said before, this one doesn't like certain points because it does kind of cause a short here, but this one seems okay. So let's change the points. These points are fine actually. Reverse. Oh, hang on, so just forward. That squeak is a tender, just in case you're wondering. Stop. The points are against you, stop. Too late, short circuit. Still ain't got used to this this inertia type effect. Right. Stop. Change points. Again, change that one. I'm going to dump this one in the foreground, in the yard that is. Stop. That's not good, is it? What the feck happened there? Oh, stop it. Okay, what caused that then? Ah, that's what caused that. Epoxy tension locks. I'll take you out of the clip. That's what caused it. Oh, I don't use tension locks anyway, so that will be coming off. Okay, good. Now we want number 4, so check the points. It's on the dead zone because it's on the board, I've not wired yet, so fair enough. There you go. See the jerkiness? Didn't used to have that. But it's not the chip, I had that before. It's very much mechanical. It's still smooth, but smooth and jerky, which is weird. There we go. I'm going to actually go there because it's a good yard, but you know, it's going to be on the main line mostly. Obviously I need to test things. So yeah, the biggest problem is just the shorting out that Gordon sometimes causes on the closure rails, because again, as I keep saying, too close together. I've bodged 2 points, that's fixed it. I'm not sure if I want to bodge anymore because it's very, very risky. But we've got 2 boards done. And that's the next thing, is get these connections, now do sorted out, get these curves done, and we can start moving around here. The question of this though, I want to clear that off and use this as a table to build other baseboards to essentially put here because I want to have a P4 layout here one day, 13 foot long, and in the meantime I can use those boards as a shelf. But I will leave it there. It's been a bit of a journey. Took a few days between the filming. You can see this is working quite nicely now. Like I said, flipping this track plan around is a bit of a mission. Not sure if I want to do it. We'll see, but it's working. Everything's set up. The points are moving correctly every time. The polarity on the frogs is working every time. Essentially, it's very good, and I'm happy mostly. Smoke generators and stay alive decoders and sound and all that stuff. Obviously, I'm interested in that. I want that, but that'll have to wait. At the moment, the priority is just basic conversions, getting things to move and work on this system. All that fancy stuff can come later. So anyway, let me know what you think. Comment, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, all that crap. Right? And I hope you enjoyed it, because we are now at the stage where things are pretty good. We've got past a lot of the boring stuff, at least for the Knapford junction. Right, I shall leave it there. Thank you for your time.